Hi, this is Danika and I build WordPress membership site. And in this video, we're gonna create this custom LearnDash course grid. Now, I got this question from the Facebook group for LearnDash and they were asking how they could customize their course grid. Now, if you know CSS, then you could easily do it. You could override stuff, you could override backgrounds, font styles, and so on. But maybe you want to really change how it looks and how things are ordered. So in this video, I'm going to show you that one. And yep, if you have any question, please comment it down below. And let's get started. Okay, so these are the plugins that I currently have for this demo site. We have Elementor Pro, JetEngine, LearnDash, and the Pro panel, which could be like turned off. I'm just gonna turn off this one for now so that it doesn't confuse you. User switching, I use that to preview a member's access, so I'm gonna leave that as a default. By the way, if you haven't watched my video for the local WP up yet, I highly suggest you check that out because this is just installed in a local environment for free, and that's going to be very useful if you are just wanting to build out your website first before you finally host it. So if we go to the courses link, this is the link. You can see that this is, if I refresh, this is the current layout right now. And the website, it is using the theme, the hello theme from Elementor. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a default archive page. For that, I actually started earlier, but to show you, what you're going to do is go to the archive and I'm going to delete this so that we start from scratch and then add new, and then I'm gonna pick this one for now. It says you need to have the pro license to get this, so do note on that one. So I'm just gonna insert this. Now I did get an error, which I'm not really sure why, but I'm gonna try that again. See if this works. So this is the current default one right now, and I'm gonna publish this, and right now I'm gonna set this to course archive, and let's just refresh. So this is now how it looks. So we have it in grid format. So the other courses does not have a featured image yet. That's why it looks like that. What I'm gonna do here is, let me just set the font style so that it looks better. So global font, I'm gonna pick for this demo site the work sense. So I'm just changing the default font family used in here. So that one looks good for me. And we're gonna focus on this section here. Now, I don't want to have, so I need to click this X icon. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna click this archive title. By the way, if you are having hard time finding which item you need to edit, I recommend you use the navigator, so you could access that by right clicking and then navigator. In here you could see all of your layers. Most of the page builder always have this capability. It may be in different sections, like in the bricks builder I noticed they have it in this side, but this one you could also just put that in there. I'm not sure if you could put this in this side, but on the right side you could snap it right there. But sometimes I like it floating, especially if the page is very simple. So I'm gonna click this gear or tool icon and I'm gonna disable this one and then save. What it's gonna do is it's gonna remove the archives and just leave the name of that archive, which is in this case courses. You could also like put something before, after, and a fallback if you need to. So now that we have that in place, I'm gonna show you how I will create a custom post grid with LearnDash. This will be, I think, very useful, especially if you have this custom design, but then you want to stick with LearnDash, but you don't want to use their course grid. So we're gonna go back to our dashboard, and as mentioned, we're using the JetEngine here from CrocoBlock. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go or hover over the JetEngine, and then we're gonna do listing. So listing, it's like a template that you create per list. If, example, you create a custom post type, then that's gonna be a list, but in this case we already have one, so I'm hoping we could pull that. So if I add a new one and then it says listing source, what I'm gonna do here is post, and then from post type, and then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pick courses. So you can see we have post, pages, medias, and so on. We have courses, lessons, topics, quizzes, challenges, certificates, groups. These are part of the LearnDash LMS, so it's good that it is in here. We also have some assignments and so on, but for now we're gonna focus on the courses, and then we're gonna name it LearnDash Course Grid. So it's gonna look like this, blank. And again, if you want to snap this, you could. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the preview width here. I think I'm gonna set it to 320 because that's much easier to see, and then update it. Now I'm gonna click this icon, but this space, this will represent like a one grid. So this grid. So when designing your listing, think of it like how each of your grid is gonna look like. So I think I could open some examples here. Let me just check. Okay, so I have some examples here. So when designing your list, think of it like this one, individual boxes of how it will look. This one, that is gonna be your grid. So that's why LearnDash has their add-on so that you could create your own. Now, so we're gonna keep this simple. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna first, if you're using Elementor with JetEngine, they are very compatible, but if you're not, they also have their dynamic, all the dynamic stuff that you could think about in here. But what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna combine the two functionality and try to build a nice looking design. So first, maybe I'm gonna try the dynamic image, and then here it says post thumbnail, and then I could click, I could select a fallback. Now let me just download some images here. So I downloaded some images, and do note that whenever you download an image, you need to properly optimize it before you upload it. So in Photoshop, it's available as an export, and then you could select here, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna limit this to 800, and then JPEG, and then I'm gonna limit this to 3 for now because that's just thumbnail, and I think that should be enough. So I'm gonna do this process for all of my images. Okay, and then I'm gonna upload my images here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select, so we have here and it says fallback image. So we're gonna select maybe this one. So if there's no featured image, then we're gonna pick that. So we have a featured image, and then we could style it in here. The problem with this is, as you can see, there's no option to control the height. So this is just an example, but actually what I mostly like, one of the options that I do is, let me just delete this, is sometimes I really like to control the size. So if you pick the image from Elementor, here you could set the height, width, and so on. And there's even filter. And there's also like example here. If I say featured image, then it's blank. Then if you click this gear icon, there's also a fallback. So as long as you're using the Pro, I think you have this option. So with this, you could also create this dynamic, and with this you could control the images much better than the default dynamic image from JetEngine. So just a note on that one. So I'm gonna update this and then I'm gonna continue. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some headline and then let me just check. So post, this should be post title, and then I'm gonna grab a text. This should be custom field. So well, I'm gonna just update this for now, and I'm gonna change this. I'm just gonna refresh, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the listing. So instead of this one, archive post from Elementor, Elementor, I'm gonna replace that with the listing from the JetEngine that we just did. And I'm gonna remove this. Now we could style this more, but let's just put this in order. So first is I'm gonna save it to post query. I'm gonna change the order. So add new and then order. This should be, I want it in ascending. So course 1 to 4. Update, and then I want this in a much lighter version. I'm in the background. Somewhere like that. Refresh. So we now have course 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next is I'm gonna make this clickable for now. And then refresh. If I hover over, I'll be redirected to the course 1. I'm gonna edit this course 1 and see if I could add some content. I'm gonna grab in some dummy text. Paste that in there, and then I'm gonna do the builder. It's fine. Settings, I'm gonna do let's just see. Just gonna update this course page. Let me just refresh. So next is I have tracked the database because I want to pull some data from the course. So maybe in here. So this is how the database look for this website. This is I think MySQL format. So it should be exactly the same for what you're hosting have, but maybe in color combination kind of looks different, but it should be the same. Now what I'm looking for here are the meta key name for the LearnDash. So if you go on the side, there's a select. In here, there is post meta. So that's the part that I'm looking for. And what I want to do is I want to grab those correct meta key, because each LearnDash fields here is in your database. So if you could grab that key, then you could show it in the front end of your website, depending on your design. And in this video, we're trying to create a custom layout. So first is I have found the price type. So LD price type. So it now shows if that's free, open, or something. it should be similar to, let me just open the demo site. So it's similar to here, this part. So that's the price. So the meta key for that is LD underscore LD underscore price underscore type. So what I've done is, let me just start again so that I could show you. And also this time I'd like to maybe style it a bit. So I'm gonna pick let me just check. Okay, so for this one I'm gonna grab maybe the listing icon listing, because that has some icons on the side and I think it looks good. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna change this to post custom field, or custom field, you could also use that. And for this one, it says key. Well, there's no key, so leave it select and then paste the meta name in there. Now I'm gonna change this to maybe tag. I'm not sure if that makes sense for now, but or maybe dollar, depending on what works for you. And then I'm gonna change the style. So I'm gonna say I want this in all caps, transform, uppercase, and then bold it a bit, and then like that one. Now you could also add some background and stuff. So maybe put some, I'm not sure, maybe yellow. Well, I just want to show you that you could do that. And then inline and maybe padding like 3, border radius 2. And then let's just see how that looks now. So you could see that you could style that part. So rather than sticking to what LearnDash offers, or maybe if you're not good with CSS code, because you could override the style anything with CSS code, but if you're not good with that, this option should be handy. Next is I found the meta key for the short description, meta key name, and I'm gonna copy that and let's try to grab that part. So we're gonna add a text editor in here, and then we're gonna click this post custom field, and again we're gonna paste the short description in there. Let's see if that works. So we only have a short description in here, the course one. And by the way, I needed to turn on the course grid, because if you don't turn it on, this part is gone. So I still want the course description, though I know that I could just create another field from JetEngine, but we're gonna stick with LearnDash here. So I put that back, and in here you could even put like a fallback. So like no short description provided, so that maybe as an admin you could put that as a reminder. So this is only available if there's no short description added. So as you can see, you could customize it more, and you could create it based on your design. Now we're gonna continue, and let's find more things that maybe we could add. So we have the title, we have the short description. Let me check if I could do the ribbon text and button text. Okay, so it's in here. So this is the button, custom button text, that one. And I'm gonna add that. So here, I'm gonna grab a button. And then under dynamic tags, I'm going to click post custom field and paste that in there. Now we could add a fallback just in case there's no custom button field. We're going to say enroll now. And then update that. Refresh. So we now have the start now, but the others we haven't set a custom button, so it doesn't have one, and it sticks to the fallback that we have. Now it's not linked, and what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna turn this off, making list clickable. Well, maybe turn that on again, but this one I want to have the post URL. Okay. Next is we're gonna grab the ribbon text, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this icon listing. I've duplicated that one, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first make it absolute so that it floats. So you need to do left and top, but if you want it to the right, then you could also do that. Let's just check, and then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna change this to a user, and then maybe, of course, we need to replace this with the one that we grabbed from the database for the ribbon text. And then the fallback is no level set. This is an example, and I think again it's gonna be very handy, especially if you know that you should set that up. Something like that. So if you have set the level, that's gonna say level 1, but if there's no level, then it's gonna look like this one. So I think we now have all of the data that we need, and then the button now is linked properly to the course. If you check this section at the bottom, I hover over and the links looks good now. Okay, now I'm just gonna do some designing in here, and feel free to follow, but in this video, I just want to answer the question that I saw on Facebook for how to custom style a grid, especially if you have your own design and does not want to follow what LearnDash could do. Okay, so we just finished our course grid. I hope you have able to follow. As you can see, we have transformed our course grid from this LearnDash default to our own style here, depending on what we needed. So we've moved the levels, the pricing, the title, and so on in order. So you could do that. We could even grab more info and add more details here, because with JetEngine, we could add some meta fields and put that in this courses and then show that in this grid. You could also see that I added some hover effect, which could be improved more, but I just want to show you that you could do something. We could even do some animations for sure. So example, so entrance animation, let's just say maybe zooming in down. Oops. Zooming up. You could do bounce. You could do flush. You could do light speed. So if you do that, if we refresh on the page load, it's gonna look like that. That's too much for me for this niche, but maybe you could do just a simpler one. So they have like fade in left. And then if I refresh, so that looks cool. Now another one, we could also do some motion effects here. So maybe mouse effects. We could do 3D tilt. So what it's gonna do is when you hover over, it's gonna kind of move. So this will be useful for any icons, just to give some life or some cool thing, animation or hover effect for your content. So again, depending on what your design is, you could take advantage of those. Now, I think I also want to show you if I refresh here. Oh, by the way, I'm just gonna close this. And you could edit this page again by going to Elementor, and then there's an archive, the one that we created earlier. We could even name this properly, and let's do that now. So this is LearnDash course list. That's just for our indicator, so it's much easier. Now if I hover over it, it now says LearnDash course list, and in here I could change this to like example sliding. So enable sliding, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to close this, but if I save, let's just see how it looks. So we could now slide and see. So we do have that animation thing, so there's a bit of delay. So if you want to remove that, you could in here. So let's just remove and see it without that one. I refresh. So the course is right away in there. Now if I example, I'm just gonna follow this color here, and I will just close these courses because we don't need it. And then in here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the styling slider, and then I'm gonna change the background color to the pink one. And then I'm gonna change this to full width, and then let's see how that looks. Okay, and then maybe if you want, instead of full width, you just limit to, I'm gonna limit this to 1300. Not sure what happened there, but let's just try to save. Maybe 2000. So it really depends on your setup. So example, if I zoom out, it's still gonna stick to the 2000. So you need to put that in mind when doing the full width. It's gonna keep on, if I refresh, it's just gonna keep on like that one, which I don't think will look good. I'm not sure if so maybe like just 1500. So it looks broken here, but it needs some time to refresh, but that should be okay. Okay, so in here I could scroll this, and I could also even just do that kind of scrolling. And then with this, do note that with Crocoblox, they have this marking things favorite. You could do that with their data stores. You could merge things with other data that you have. So I think this combination is very handy and it's very useful whenever you are customizing your grid. And of course, you could make sure that this looks good by editing this listing and then adjusting the styling properly for your mobile screen. So you could do that. Now if I refresh here, so this is how it looks. But then if I go to maybe tablet, I want to limit to 2 columns only. That should take effect, but it's not loading in here. But if we refresh, for sure that's gonna work. And then in here, I'm gonna just want a 1 column for mobile. So if we refresh here, and then maybe do an inspect element. So mobile is just 1 screen. You could even change the size of that arrows if it's too big. You could also hide it. And then for, let's just say iPad Air. So just 2 column. So I hope that video helps, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment that down below. I really appreciate your support, and click that subscribe and bell icon so that I get you notified when I post videos like this. And again, I'm collecting more questions regarding membership site, especially WordPress membership site. So let me know, comment it down below, and I'll do my best to include that in my future videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.